These are the 3 mistakes you're making that are blocking your manifestation, and you probably aren't even aware that you're doing it or getting stuck in it. So we're going to be looking at what is playing out unconsciously and the ways that it's really keeping you trapped in a place you don't want to be in, when your desire and your manifestation could literally be right in your vortex, and often it is, and yet it's not able to fully come into your reality and be grounded in because of one of these things. So make sure you stick around till the end, because the third one is actually one of the most common ones that I see people getting tripped up on, and it has been actually probably the one I struggle with the least, which is what has allowed me to manifest a lot of my desires really quickly when I'm not making that mistake, okay? So welcome back. My name is Kara Michelle, and I'm here to help you live your truth, and I am so happy that you're here. If you are new to the channel, please hit the subscribe, and if you find value to this, give it a thumbs up and support the channel. I'm so grateful to have you here in the community. So let's dive in, okay? Mistake number 1 is staying stuck in the past and the old beliefs, the old identity, the small self. Now, when you think of your manifestation, it's always a future version of you, right? It's a desire that is not yet in the present. So we want to bridge the gap and become the match for that desired reality. And if you're staying in the present, you're not a match. On top of that, typically when you're in the present moment, you're actually still living in the past, because it's past beliefs, past experiences, doubts, insecurities, unworthiness, traumas, right? All the things that make up who you are in this present moment. If you are still playing out those stories, looping through those beliefs and emotions and thought patterns, if you are still basing your future possibilities on the past, you are blocking your manifestation. It doesn't have space to come in. And here's an example, because I understand that that might be very all over the place with the past, present, future selves, right? Let's look at an example in my own life. When I was very stuck, I'll just pick an even simpler one, because I was gonna pick a piece of trauma or something, but that's even heavier. So let's just go very simple, right? When I was wanting to manifest and create my own business and be my own boss and work from home or work from anywhere, right? But in the present moment, I was working at a 9-to-5 that I hated and that I was miserable at. That was present Kara. She also didn't feel confident. She didn't have any of the beliefs or confidence and beliefs and stories in her ability to succeed at those things, because she had never done it, right? Future Kara, version of her who already has the manifestation, would be in that identity of it's normal. Yeah, you're your own boss. Of course you can pay your own bills. Of course you get to travel the world and you're running things the way you want to, and blah, blah, blah. She would have very different confidence and identity around herself. Present Kara was the 9-to-5, doubting that she could get there. But past Kara was still playing out and still impacting in the present. What I mean by that is experiences from junior high and elementary school where teachers talked about how stupid you were if you didn't go to university, if you didn't stay at your 9-to-5, if you didn't have the benefits and the security, right? Past Kara, who had best friends tell her that she should just settle and get a job and that she wouldn't be successful doing things her own way. Past Kara, who had a lot of beliefs and doubts and confidence issues because of her parents, and seeing what my dad sacrificed to run a business, right? In order to provide for our family, or beliefs that my parents, my mom put on me about what I could or couldn't do. So all these things that I experienced in the past, right? And if you think of it like a ruler or like a timeline, they were all adding up as the years went by. more experiences, maybe experiences where I made mistakes with money and I was kind of foolish or I overspent, right? That created beliefs that I'm bad with money and I can't be trusted. So present Kara, who wants to leave her 9-to-5 desperately and manifest the business of her dreams, traveling the world and helping people, but she's still in past stories of, oh, it's not safe to trust yourself. You're probably really bad with money. You're probably not going to make good decisions. At that point, I had already started a paper company about a year or so before that, and it failed, so to say, because it didn't have the huge success that I wanted, and I felt disheartened by all the times I heard no, and so I gave up completely, right? So that's past experiences that then were still being carried with me in the present. So it was like, oh, I don't know if it's safe to really trust that I can succeed this time. I let myself down last time, even though I was excited and thought I was doing the right thing, right? Can you understand how everything adds up over time? And unless you're doing the work to actively release those things, your present moment is actually just a reflection of your past. So we need to not be stuck in that kind of vortex of negativity, of doubt, of insecurity, of limiting beliefs, and tap into the vortex of the future self who already has it. And I talk about that on a lot of different videos. You can check them out. I also just recently did a video specifically on identity shifting, and I dove into this a lot about acting as if and being the embodiment of the future self, because your future self is directly aligned with your desired reality. There's no blocks at all because they already have it. So if you don't have it right now, there is at least one, if not multiple ways that you are still not a vibrational match. You are still not being what that version of you would be if they had the desire. Okay, so that brings us to mistake number 2, which is focusing on what you don't want. And this is so easy and often overlooked because it's a default programming that our minds have. You know, I think pretty much all of us were programmed to see the glass half empty and to always focus on the negative, focus on the things going wrong, focus on the things that are not showing up yet, okay? When I think about where I was a few years ago in my business and I was wanting to reach a larger group of people, and all I did every single day was focus on how I didn't have that yet. And I continued to focus on like, the numbers aren't there, the likes aren't there, the messages aren't there, people aren't reaching out. I'm wanting to step into the version of me who is having like daily sales and just everything, you know, working and flowing really consistently, and I didn't have it. But instead of focusing on what I wanted and, like I just said, being in that embodiment of the wish fulfilled and feeling excited, feeling grateful, celebrating every single time there's a tiny bit of proof, one more person, one more like, one more message, oh, this person like supported it or believed in it, or this thing just happened, right? Or money coming in here. Really letting the positive signs fuel you into an upward spiral instead of staying stuck in the negative spiral of what's missing. I also did this with money, and I can tell you firsthand that is a huge contributing reason why I ended up in an insane amount of debt. Because even though I had such incredible knowledge of unconscious beliefs and money blocks and, you know, energetic things and all this stuff going on around money, and I knew how to work with it and be a really good conduit and channel for it, I somehow ended up over $100,000 in debt. And by somehow, it was like a lot of bad decisions that added up over time that I thought were gonna work. But what I noticed at the time when I was the first stage of the biggest debt I'd had, and I had just fully maxed out an $18,000 credit card, I wasn't being given any other options, and I had $20 in my savings, literally no money in my bank, because everything I made, I put directly into my business, to the point that I couldn't pay my rent. I was picking fallen mangoes off the ground in Australia. I was really not sure what I was gonna do, and it was a really stressful time for me because I was over there with no money, and I was really feeling ashamed of the fact that I hadn't succeeded in my business and that I had dug such a hole for myself. Now, what I learned in that moment though, and when it was this big light bulb for me, was like, I had spent the last few months focusing so much on not wanting to max my credit card. And the universe doesn't know the difference between not and yes, right? Like, it doesn't have that first word describing it. It focuses on the energy and the thing you're vibrating in. So, for example, if every single day, all the time, which is what I was doing, I'm thinking, I really don't want to max out my credit card. I really don't want to end up here. I can't end up here. I like, please God, don't let me end up here. And like, what am I going to do if this happens? And I'm so scared about if it happens. All my energy all day was focused on the reality that I didn't want. All my energy was focusing on the fear of debt and what this would mean. Imagine if every single day I had put that energy and focus on, I'm so happy and grateful that I always have more than enough. I love that money is always coming in. I'm really open to the ways that it can show up unexpectedly. I'm pumped about how the universe and God is going to surprise me by the ways that it comes in. And I see myself as really successful. I know I'm good at what I do. I know that people need what I'm sharing. I love that I get to do this every day. So I'm always seeing more proof that this is the path I'm meant to be on. And it's so exciting. What a beautiful life. I love it. Those are two entirely different frequencies and focal points, right? And what we focus on grows. So if we focus on what we don't want, you are actually, in fact, giving more power to that. And that's why in a global scale, whoa, my elbows, like shoulder elbows, it's a shoulder crack. Every time I do this, my shoulders crack. Okay, this is why on a global scale, when we see things like we're seeing right now with massive wars and other things breaking out, if we focus on fear and I really don't want this to get worse and I hate that this is happening and blah, 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 and fueling all our energy into that, we are unconsciously giving more power to that source, right? Or giving more source to that power. I don't know which way I want to say that. Whereas if we were in the positive frame of mind, I'm not talking about ignoring it, and I'm not talking about ignoring the fact that I was getting closer and closer to debt and I had more money and bills coming and no savings, right? It's not about ignoring it, but it's about, even though this is here, I am choosing to focus on what I'm calling in. I'm choosing to stay in the vibration of the desire. I'm choosing to be grateful and focus on the future vision of what I want to create. And this is what we all have been, tricked or misled or deceived about with our conscious creative power. Because the media is designed to keep us actually creating more fear. The more we're plugged into the news and the fear narratives and the scary things and even the rabbit holes on Instagram, guilty as charged, I fall into those sometimes. And then I realize I'm giving energy to the negative reality, and they want that. They're wanting to create more fear and chaos and trauma and division. So if I keep focusing on it, I'm plugging into it, right? Whereas if I focus on, this is the world I'm here to help create, and these are the ways things are going to happen. And I love that wealth is distributed equally, and that finally all the excess food we have on the planet is actually going to people that need it instead of being dumped in landfills, and the banks aren't, taking advantage of us, and instead everything is being circulated really nicely and blah, blah, blah. And we have governments that are loving and actually care about the people, right? If I focus on the desired reality, I'm now bringing the power of God that flows through me, and I'm channeling it to the future vision. I'm channeling it to the desire. And not only does it make me feel 1,000 times better in the moment, obviously, because I'm not stuck over here anymore, but it allows me to show up from that place each day and take different actions and be in a different level of consciousness, where the manifestation now can show up in really beautiful ways. And I gave this example on the previous video about identity shifting, where I did this when I manifested a book deal and co-authored a book. And I could have been in the story of, you haven't written a book before, you've never had success with this, you don't know how you're going to publish it, like blah, 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 you don't have much money, how's this going to happen, all the negative stories. And I could have stayed there, but I stayed on, I know that this is what I'm here to do. I desire to create and share my voice in this way. I love writing. I'm open to the ways that things can show up, right? And I was focusing on what I did want instead of reaffirming what I didn't. My voice does matter. People are going to benefit and be excited about what I'm sharing. It's going to help a lot of people. Instead of focusing on, oh, another person just ignored me. Oh, this person just my mom just dismissed what I said. Nobody respects what I have to say. My dad's not listening to me. People, I'm getting very few likes and not much engagement. I guess my voice doesn't matter, right? Everything that's reaffirming what I don't want just keeps me creating more of what I don't want. And that's the ultimate takeaway. Oh, my shoulder just cracked again. That's the ultimate takeaway, okay? So start focusing on what you do want every day. And yes, you can acknowledge when things pop up. And yes, you can do the work to clear those when things from the past or old beliefs, or you notice, oh yeah, this is a pattern and I don't want to stay in it. I'm grateful that I'm now aware of it. And what is it that I do want? I want my voice to be deeply respected. I want to feel aligned and authentic in how I'm speaking. I want to just be a channel and share what's on my heart and trust that the right people are going to find it. I want to be able to reach more and more people and help more and more people. Imagine staying in that energy, how quickly that will manifest. And I've seen it time and time again, okay? Now let's get into the third one. And this is the one that I personally am very quick to change, because here's the deal. A lot of people think when they do the mindset work or the energetics that that's enough. And they're like, I've meditated on it, I've tapped into it, I know what I'm calling in, boom, I'm good. And that's beautiful, but the action and the embodiment is necessary. So you need to make the changes in your physical reality to align with the future self and the dream manifestation. Here's an example. I am very quick to change up my environments if things aren't feeling aligned. If there are relationships that make me feel small, I am setting boundaries very quickly. If there are relationships that are constantly, pointing out flaws or judging things I do or say, or making me feel like I can't achieve the desire or can't manifest it, I am ruthless to a point where I'm like, I am not available for your negativity to hold me back. And there have been times where I've given too much power to their stuff or to that environment, and it freaking sucks, because then I'm not manifesting nearly as fast as I could be. But when I take the action and I'm like, I'm going to put myself in the best environment. I'm going to put myself in the room I would be in if I already had the manifestation. When I manifested my first 10K month in my business, I had not even been close to that yet. I had been at really inconsistent, maybe one client a month. So maybe 3,000, sometimes 5,000 a month. I was working for another coach. I was doing co-coaching, and I was making maybe 2,000 to 3,000 from him. But I was paying off a lot of debt still. Ari, my last story. So when I had this beautiful opportunity to move down to Los Angeles, it manifested so incredibly. I knew that even though I don't have the money and I don't really know how I'm going to pay each month, somehow I'm going to be supported. And so I'm going to take the leap and trust in a higher power to provide, because I know I'm meant to be in an environment where I feel loved, where I feel cherished, where I feel connected to soul family. I know that I'm meant to be somewhere sunny and near a beach. I wasn't meant to stay locked up in Canada for the first lockdown winter in my mom's basement. I would have absolutely been horrendous for me. Like, that was not possible, right? So I took the actions that were matching what it was I had wanted to manifest, even though I didn't have all the things perfectly lined up beforehand to go do it. And now after a few months living there, this room opened up that was the dreamiest. I called it the queen room. And I was like, I want this room. I want my own space. I had been sharing a room with a friend for the first months, for the whole time I was there. And I was like, I really need space. I'm very introverted. I love to hermit. I love to just be in my own vortex of energy. And that's how I do my quantum work and my manifesting the best. So I thought, Kara, this rent for this room is exactly what you're making from co-coaching. So that means you have nothing extra to pay off your credit cards. You have nothing extra for food or fun things. You're totally relying on the inconsistency of your own business to help be an overflow. But I tapped into that and thought about it, and I was like, yes. And the 10K version of me, the version of me who's making $10,000 a month, she would not even bat an eye about paying for this room. She would be like, yeah, of course, I can afford that because I still have X amount extra to enjoy and to save and to do things with, right? She would not be in fear or doubt or scarcity. It was just my past self who was in scarcity because of her past experiences and the beliefs and traumas and fears around not being able to support herself. So I made the decision that yes, I'm going to commit to this room because this is where I would be if I were already having 10K months. And since that is the new normal I'm wanting to call in, I get to act as if first I take the physical action to align. I let go of relationships that are not serving me and that are not in alignment with where I'm going. I set the boundaries to match where I'm going. I put myself in the literal room to match where I'm going. And I had my first 10K month that month. I worked less. I didn't know how the clients were coming. I didn't really do much at all extra. I focused on feeling really good. I did a lot of healing and meditation and quantum work and really prioritized self-care. And I just loved the space that I was in, and I made it all pretty and magical because I was like, this is what a 10K month represents to me. And so I did the physical things first. And that is the third mistake, because if you are just waiting for everything to materialize for you, and you're like, I've journaled about it, I've meditated on it, I've done these things, and now I'm just gonna wait, but you haven't become the vibrational match for it yet. You haven't made the changes to be the physical future self. If you're still tolerating friends or family who are talking down to you, but you're wanting to manifest people who treat you really kind, or you're wanting to manifest a loving and respectful soulmate, but you're tolerating this, you're not acting like the future self yet. You're still acting from the small self. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is the third thing to focus on. You've got to stop staying in the habits, in the beliefs, in the environments that are not a match. And it's really uncomfortable. And this is why most people I see don't do this third step, because they're scared to set the boundary and leave those relationships. They're scared to leave and travel the world, or to put themselves in a new apartment or apply for a new job, because they're like, it's unknown, I don't have a guarantee, I'm not sure if it's safe. All these things are coming up, and so I'm just gonna stay where I am. But now you have created resistance, because the desire, the manifestation, it's right here waiting for you to say yes to it fully. And instead you're like, I'm gonna hold on to these things that I know aren't serving me, but they're safe, they're known, and like, I'm scared to let go of these things yet. I'll wait until I have it. Once I have the money, then I'll leave my job. Once I have the money, then I'll pay for the nice place. Once I have the money, then I'll invest in myself. Once I have my soulmate, then I'll set the boundaries with the other people. Once I have the dream community, then I'll feel good enough. No, that's not how it works. You have to become it first. You become it now, and the rest comes in. It can't come in if you're not being the match, right? You have to move, and God will always support you. And I cannot even tell you the beautiful ways that this has shown up time and time again. It's why I love traveling, and it's why I love physical movement into new environments, because it helps me activate more alignment to who I want to be. Whereas whenever I stay back, unless those people are growing with me, I now have some incredible friendships where like we're all equally doing the work, so we're growing together. But I have some relationships where they're not really doing the work, so they're still happy to sit and complain and be negative over here, and to think of all the reasons why it's not possible to manifest things or to have the desires. I can't stay there anymore. So I've had to be willing to let go of those people and really distance the relationship. I can still love them, appreciate them, respect them, but I'm not giving them much time and energy. I'm not easily accessible. I'm over here because I know that where I'm going, I can't bring them unless they want to come up to match that. Okay, so you've got to be willing to let go of the things that are not a match in order to fully align with what is meant for you. And that is the secret sauce. If you would like more support with this, I have an incredible masterclass training where I break down the exact process and the reprogramming techniques that I use. I share my 3 steps that I teach inside Thrive, and that have helped me and my clients to release a lot of things that were blocking and holding us in the small self, and step into the future self so that we could create our dream lives very, very quickly. The training is incredible. It's going to leave you with so much value, and there's also exclusive offers to join Thrive and work with me directly in there that you won't see anywhere else. So if you are wanting to really do this and get on the fast track, click that masterclass button. The link is down below. And as I said at the beginning, if you found this helpful, please give this video a thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for watching. And here's to your future manifestations and the beautiful things that you are calling in. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you again soon.